Hello! That was very annoying. Should I redo that? No, screw it. You know what? It's 2024. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but I'm going with it. I hope everyone has had a great week. I'm coming at you. What day is this coming out? August 22nd, which means it's pretty much fall. I know we talked about it last week, how I was sort of declaring it the start of fall. I'll be totally honest, I had sort of a think about that kind of over the weekend, and I was like, well, maybe I should live out the rest of the summer, full summer mode, because, after the next few weeks, we're not going to have summer again for almost another year. So, am I wishing it away? Am I not living in the moment? All of the questions. And do I live in the moment? Absolutely not. Anyone who listens to this podcast would know I'm always living in the future. I'm talking about what season it is going to be. I'm talking about what I'm going to be doing, what I'm going to be eating. So no, I don't live in the present. But I've decided that I'm okay with that, at least for now. Maybe I'll work on that. Maybe we'll save that for the 30s, when I'm in my 30s. Anyway, so as I was saying, I had sort of a crisis of, am I wishing summer away? And then I woke up today and it was cloudy, windy. It's supposed to be raining. I'm looking out onto beautiful leaves that are, turning the fall shades. I happened to be in the mall this morning. I did walk past a Bed Bath and what is it called? Bed Bath and Body Works? Bath and Body, and you know what I mean, that store. And it was starting to smell like fall, and I was smelling some fall scents, even though I think it was just the donut shop. Also in the mall. Donuts to me will always smell like pumpkin, and I can't explain why. I did discuss in the last episode how Krispy Kreme did come out with their pumpkin spice variant. I have not tried it yet. I hope to, but I have tried some of the fall snacks that we mentioned in the last episode. That I mentioned in the last episode. So stay tuned, and we'll get to that. But yeah, it's the weather's turning fall. Don't worry, I'm still dressed like summer and wearing shorts and drinking an iced coffee. Yesterday, I did dress full fall. I was in plaid. I was in pants. I'm sure everyone's really glad to hear. My summer tan is starting to fade a little bit. And we're fully stepping into fall. I have to be dead honest. I'm a bit distracted recording this episode, because I have a deep craving for pumpkin chili. I've never had pumpkin chili. I've had chili, I've had pumpkin, obviously. So I was Googling some recipes for pumpkin chili, because I was like, I can make that. Chili, I will say, I can make chili. You can make chili. Chili's very easy. You just need all the ingredients. You put them in a pot. You let it cook. The longer you cook it, the better it'll taste. I will say I tried to do a quick chili once, and it tasted like science class. It tasted like experiment. In that the flavors didn't all blend together. It just tasted like separate things. So I was like, I'm going to make pumpkin chili. And that was only an hour ago, so I haven't done it yet. Hopefully, maybe fingers crossed, this weekend, I can get some pumpkin chili on the stove. And I was Googling recipes. I assumed pumpkin chili was regular chili that you add. And sometimes you put a sweet potato, you can put some squash in chili. I just thought you chopped up pumpkins. Now, I don't know how I was planning on making it this weekend, because I have not seen one single pumpkin. And then I was like, oh, they probably just have canned pumpkin pieces, chopped, cut up, all ready to go. Because honestly, there's nothing worse than chopping any sort of potato or a pumpkin. If the store can do that for me, I'm happy to pay the extra, because it's like that cut fruit section or cut veggie section, it's the margins are not to be believed, but I'm happy to pay if it saves time. I also did, I don't know if I talked about it last year, but I did get like a chopper at the end of last year. That helps a lot, although I hate cleaning it. I really don't like chopping, and I really don't like cleaning. So really this whole cooking thing is interesting for me. But I try my best. But I assumed, like I was saying, that pumpkin chili was just you got a can of pumpkin, threw it in. Apparently canned pumpkin like doesn't exist, or it's not available yet. So we'll keep our fingers and toes crossed for that. Maybe I'll go to Trader Joe's and see what fall offerings they have. All of this to say, all of the pumpkin chili recipes I've looked at, it's not pieces of pumpkin. It's like pumpkin puree, like you're making pumpkin muffins. So, good news being that's available year-round. Medium to bad-ish news being is I don't know how that would taste, but I'm down to try. So, hopefully next week I will be coming to you fully in fall, maybe with a pumpkin spice latte. I don't want to get too crazy. I have seen signs popping up from different coffee shops. Pumpkin spice is back, pumpkin spice is here. So maybe we can do that. Maybe I can do a live tasting of my pumpkin chili. Fingers crossed. I would love to one day listen to all the episodes, except I would hate to do that. But for the point of seeing all the things that I said I was going to do, that I didn't. That will be the name of the podcast one day. Everything I said I was going to do and then didn't. Or like my memoir. I have so many titles for my memoir. I could probably fill a memoir only of the titles in which I would call it. Regardless, I hope everyone has had a great fall. Apparently, fall doesn't actually start for like a full month. Like over a month. But as I said last week, like, I'm not going to concern myself with that. Like, you are what you eat. I'm eating pumpkin chili or trying to. Thus, it is fall. Speaking of fall, I have my new fall breakfast. Well, kind of. I just figured out that there is such thing, and I hope to share this with you. I hope that anyone who didn't know about this will know about it now. But I've heard that there's such a thing as a croissant bun. So it's like a bun, like a roll, like that you can make a sandwich out of, like a breakfast sandwich, but it is a croissant. For some reason, I had never come into contact, and isolated for 2 weeks, with the croissant roll. Like, is this just a thing? Do you know when you find something out and you're like, did you know about this? And then here's the thing. I'll run it by some people and be like, hey, did you know that this thing existed? And everyone's like, yeah. But then I sort of feel like they're just telling me yes because... Not to make me look crazy, because if that was the case, I would need to surround myself with better people. I have great people around me. But I sometimes feel like they too are embarrassed to be like, no, I didn't know about this thing. So they just say, yeah, of course I knew about it. But I'm like, did you really? Like, did you actually know? Like, do people know that these things exist? They're delicious. Let me tell you what you do. You get a croissant roll. You cut it in half, obviously. Half, like, horizontal, like landscape. So you have 2 equal halves. And then you put an egg. And I don't even like eggs, but, like, you kind of need to fill out the sandwich more. You put an egg. You put some bacon. Or you could do vegetarian. Piece of cheese. Some hot honey. You fold it up. You can maybe toast it, put it in the frying pan, couple minutes each side to get the croissant nice and toasty. And there you go. And yes, I did just invent a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, which has existed since the dinosaurs. However, I put it on a croissant roll, which has existed probably since a little bit after the dinosaurs. But To me, it is delicious. And you know what you really do, just to reinvent the wheel entirely? Make like 4 or 5 of those, put them in the freezer, thaw them in the morning, maybe put them in the microwave. Then you have breakfast for the whole week. Now, I did just invent meal prep, which I've openly talked about my confusion with. But it is my idea, so now it's a good one. No, I have nothing against food prep. I just sometimes, when I see those videos, which, P.S., I've been locked out of my Instagram, so there's that. Long story short, I don't know if I talked about... I'll get back to food prep. I don't know if I talked about this, but I forgot my phone password about a week ago. Like, out of nowhere, it was saying it was wrong. I could not remember it. And the numbers that I had like the 6-digit code on my phone. And the number that, or the pattern that I had, like the code I had, I'm really good at talking. The code I had, I remembered from a pattern, not from a number. And someone asked me like what the code was, and I was trying to tell it. And then I was like, oh, maybe it's 8, 9, 2. Like in my head, I was trying to do the pattern. And then that got me thinking about the actual numbers. So that when I myself went to do it, I could not remember it. Isn't that terrible? So I lost kind of access to all of my apps and everything, and then I was able to restore my phone. So I got all my pictures and texts and everything back, but not everything was logged in. And I guess I had like what is that new thing every app wants you to do, where it's like, you put in your password and then you have to go to a separate app to get a code and then put the code in. The app where I had the code was reset and I can't get that back. So I am locked out of Instagram. So when I lose all of my Instagram fame and notoriety and have to go back to just being, normal, know that that's why. It's not because I was never famous. It's because I lost my access to my authenticator app, I believe is what it was called. So I'm actually thrilled to have a different excuse that isn't like, oops, I'd never had Instagram fame. Because I did. I just can't, unfortunately, hate when this happens, can't access my thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. They're probably also worried about me, waiting for me to post my next Reels. Or was it called? Is it Reels or is it a YouTube short? No, YouTube. Don't worry. I can still watch YouTube shorts. None of that is changing. I just cannot make Instagram Reels. So just wanted to do PSA, get that out there. I think we will be okay. I'll just make a new account. Although that account I've had since I was probably too young. So like if anyone that actually knows me is like looking to reach out and you're like, why, which no one has, don't worry, in the 12 years that I actually had access to the account, but like now if someone needs me, it's kind of gone. Oh well. Anyway, back to freezer prep, food prep. Putting food in the freezer, love. Making your dinner or your lunch for Friday the Sunday before scares me a little bit, especially when people get those fancy clear containers and then like put everything in it and like lettuce and chicken and salad, and it's like, ooh, like how is that going to taste on Friday? So every Friday when I'm driving to work, I just send a quick one up for all the people eating lunch from Sunday. Although if you're someone that can prepare your lunch for Friday on Sunday, like I have nothing but respect for you, because I can barely throw a Pop-Tart in my bag the morning of. So, love and light to everybody. Okay, and now for really the reason that everyone is tuning into this podcast. Well, first off, I'm going to be very honest in saying that it is now 12 hours, almost exactly 12 hours after I recorded that first half. I love how I always do that. It's always like exactly 12 hours. I feel like I'm a very regimented person, I was recording at 11:09 a.m. Now it's 11:18 p.m. So what do you know? I have questions. I actually feel like, I know I've talked a lot about how different parts of the world do different do different systems. Like some are metric, some are imperial. I do think we all need to get on the same page about that. I don't exactly know the reasons why everything is different. Maybe there is a very valid reason, and then all of this will be void. I'm open to hearing arguments. I'm nothing if not open. But I feel like there's so much divide. Like, we could all come together and use the same, like, units of measurement, you know? We could all use the same, like, how many degrees it is, like, temperature. We could all use the same, you know, way that we say height. And I'm open to changing. You know, it doesn't have to be everyone has to fit me. Like, if I got to learn Fahrenheit, I'll do it. I've tried. It hasn't come as naturally. I think of it like this. I think of it as like a grade on a test. Okay, 70 degrees. It's not bad. That's like a low B, high C+. So like not cold, but not super hot. I think in reality, 70 degrees translated is about 20 Celsius. Right, 70 Fahrenheit to Celsius. Yeah, it's 21 degrees. Look at me knowing. But that sounds about right. Like, it's not super, super hot, but like you probably don't need a jacket. Whereas like 50, that's almost a fail. You're not going to be frozen, because what is that? 50 is like 10? 50 Fahrenheit to Celsius. Yeah, 10. Exactly. Like, you're not freezing, but like you should probably put on a jacket. Like you're about to get there. So if anyone just needs a life hack, I don't know how many people that really applies to, because there's not really situations where you need to know both. And then if you're going from Fahrenheit to Celsius, I don't know how to. I feel like that's probably harder. Because like, if you get 40% on a test, you failed, but in Celsius, that's like 100 degrees. So that's going to be a bit tricky. You could also do, I think there's an equation. I think to get from Celsius to Fahrenheit, you times it by 2 and then add 30. That seems like a lot of work. So I guess to do that backwards, would you divide it by 2 and then subtract 30? So 70 divided by 2 is 35, and then subtract 30 is 5. No, it doesn't work. Unless I did my math wrong. No, that was right. Okay. Yeah, sorry. If you're trying to go from Fahrenheit to Celsius, I can't help you. But none of this will be necessary if my initiative goes through of us all getting on the same page. I feel like I was saying before, that is something that we could easily, easy is a strong word, but we could all unite and come together and say like, no, we are using the 24-hour clock. The 24-hour clock is something that makes the most sense to me, but also like having AM and PM makes a lot of sense. Because they start off the same, you know, and then it's like around at 1 in the afternoon, we just get thrown into turmoil, and half the world says 1 and half the world says 13. I also don't know about this whole half the world thing. I don't know which countries do which. What I do know for sure is, I think feet. I think if we're doing not feet like what's like the body part, feet like a foot, I think is the way that we should measure height. Living in Canada, we kind of have like a hybrid. Like, we're mostly, I think it's the metric system. I think, because that's like centimeters and stuff. Let me Google. Let me just double check. Yes. Okay. So until semi-recently, until the 70s, Canada used the imperial system with the states, but they have since used the metric system. So for my consciousness, we've used the metric system, which makes a lot of sense because I feel like older people use the imperial system, but that's what they grew up doing. So that obviously makes sense. Now, I think We all got to get on the same page, as I was saying. Even just intercontinentally. Like, maybe we can't change the world, but like, America, let's get on the same page. Mexico, let's get on the same page. Let's see what system Mexico uses. Okay, wait, which countries use the imperial system? Okay, only 3 countries. The US, Liberia, and Myanmar, which I believe is in Asia. So that's 3 countries. Now, I know I was saying before, I can't remember if I expressed this already, but like, I'm fine with changing. We don't all have to fit me. But like, listen, if most of the countries are using metric and you're using imperial, maybe it's clear what we have to do. However, like I also was saying, apparently I just said 3 smart things and keep referencing them for this whole segment. I think feet is a better way of saying numbers, because I think that the whole sort of core of the issue with these 2 systems is like metric is telling you more like not literal, but like to the centimeter, how tall is this thing. But like when you're talking about how tall a person is, first of all, no one's giving you the correct answer. Anyone who says they're 6 feet is 5'11". I say that as someone who really believed I was 6 feet, and I think I'm actually 5'11", but then sometimes I measure myself when I'm 6'1", so I don't know. I actually don't know. Like, I'm not trying to be deceptive. I don't know. I also have extremely bad posture, and I think 6 months with a chiropractor, and I would come out at least 2 inches taller. So there's that. But I don't need to know, like, how many centimeters your height is. I don't need to know that. So we'll keep that. What other things do you measure? If we could do, I don't know if the 24-hour clock is part of the metric or imperial system, or if that's a thing, but like, I think AM, PM works for me, only because I think it's not hard. Like, if we want to think about what's the most seamless transitioning from the 24-hour clock to the AM, PM, I don't know what that's called, the 12-hour clock, is not difficult. Like, I don't think many people could be like, oh, I'm having a hard time adapting to the 12-hour clock. Whereas going from the 12-hour clock to the 24-hour clock, while in the grand scheme of things is not that hard, I think people would have trouble with it and then be late a lot. Like, it's like, oh, I thought we were meeting at 16, and I thought 16, because here's what people would think. People would think like 16 is just 6 o'clock, when it's actually, I believe, 4 o'clock. The only reason I know the 24-hour clock is because one of the clocks at my job in university was a 24-hour clock. And obviously at those types of jobs, no matter how great they are, you're staring at the clock a lot. You know, it was a part-time, just trying to pay the bills. And by bills, I mean buy bags of hot Cheetos, regular Cheetos, Cheeto Puffs, Taco Bell times Cheeto, or what's that called when someone does like 2 brands get together and there's like an X in the middle? I don't know. But yeah, that line of work is, you're staring at the clock. So I actually do know the 24-hour clock, but funnily enough, I don't know it as well past the time that the store I worked at closed, because I never saw it. So like, we usually close at 8, so I know 20 is 8. Sometimes someone will hit me with a 23, a 22, and I'm like, wait, what time is that? Because I never really needed to know those times, because the clock in which I learned the 24-hour clock was not one that I experienced past 20 o'clock. Did that make sense? I also don't fully understand or know if they still say o'clock. Like, is it like it's 20? It's 1900 hours. excuse me, because it's in the PM, because it's 23:29 currently, I'm a little bit tired. I should probably talk a little bit faster because my homework is due. This is probably like the closest I've cut it for the Nobody Asked for This podcast, which is saying something. Now I'm starting to feel bad because I promised a epic fall food review earlier in this episode, and now we're kind of running out of time, which I normally wouldn't care about, but we're literally running out of time. And if I don't get this episode up on the exact due date of 11:59 on a Wednesday night, all of the people that don't listen to this are going to be so confused and be like, where are you? Okay, how about this? I will give you a slight... I'll give you the thing that I tried, and then I will give you a word to describe it. And then next time, I plan to try more fall foods over the weekend. Hopefully maybe some pumpkin chili, but don't count on that. But I hope to try more fall foods by the time I talk to you next, and then I'll do a full, in-depth review of those. But so far, what I've tried, and one word to describe them, are as follows. Pumpkin granola. I'm going to say classic. Pumpkin Pop-Tart. I'm going to say accurate. I believe it's a pumpkin pie Pop-Tart. Pumpkin spice Oreos. I'm going to say... what am I going to say? To sum it up in one word. I'm not normally good at this. I'm kind of long-winded, if you couldn't tell. Pumpkin spice Oreos, I'm going to say orange. I'm going to say orange. Pumpkin spice Chobani Flip Cup. Lots. Pumpkin spice Chobani Not Flip Cup. Joe. That's what I'm going to say. And you'll find out why later. I have not made a fall trip to Trader Joe's. Now, the problem with that is it's not like fully fall yet, so I might need a few weeks. I want to get there when it's peak, I want all of the options. I don't want is it still slim pickings if the pickings are going to get better? Do you know when you go to the pumpkin patch the week of Halloween and it's like, oh, this would have been such a fun place 3 weeks ago? I fear that if I go to Trader Joe's too soon in the fall season, and by too soon I mean a month before fall even starts, I'm going to get there and it's like, well, where are the offers? What's on offer? And it's like, yeah, we have a thing of pumpkin butter and a pumpkin biscotti and, come back in 2 months. So I'm really trying to plan that accurately. I've also, just to be straight up, I've had a inkling to go to Olive Garden. I did receive an email that they have started their never-ending pasta. And I will say, I usually go to Olive Garden in May and then November or December. So it's coming. I don't, again, same thing. I don't want to go too soon because then it's like I might not be ready for it in November. And there's nothing like a November Olive Garden. I'm sorry, there's not. As, again, a Canadian, we have our Thanksgiving in October. So November, there's not a meal-based holiday. So I usually fill that void with Olive Garden. And they're never-ending breadsticks, soup, salad, pasta. I'm going to challenge myself. I normally get the same thing every time. I normally get the chicken and shrimp carbonara, or I just do breadsticks, soup, and salad. Because if you don't get breadsticks, soup, and salad, you have to choose between soup and or salad, unless you go with someone else, and then you kind of share both. But who wants to share? It's Olive Garden. But I think I want to try, I want to be crazy and try their lasagna. I've never tried their tomato sauce. because for some reason it scares me, but like their other food's pretty good. And by good, I want to be honest and say, like, I know it's like not actual Italian food. It's like a very like American food, but whatever they're serving me is good. Like, I don't make the rules. Like, good is good. I'm pretty sure their carbonara has like heavy cream and milk, because me and my friend made a carbonara like copycat recipe for Olive Garden that tasted exactly like it, and then found out later from another source that carbonara is just like, it's supposed to be bacon fat and like oil or something, or butter. And there's actually not supposed to be any cream or milk in carbonara. And I was like, well, that's really confusing, because I can remember us like pouring buckets of milk in half and half, like to the point where it almost didn't all fit in the pan. So I guess I didn't make the authentic one. Whoops. Regardless, I hope you all have a just stellar week. I hope you have some pumpkin chili. I hope you get ready for fall. I hope you buy some Trader Joe's cornbread crisps, which I hope to be doing. I believe that's a fall exclusive. I get confused over what's like an exclusive and what is like a limited time and what is year round. I could get into that in another episode. Joe, I love your work. I have a couple notes. Trader Joe. Other than that, I hope you all get your first sip of a pumpkin flavored beverage by the time I speak to you next. And yeah, have a great weekend. I promise we'll get to the full fall food review next episode. And yeah, if you took the time to listen to this, I really appreciate it. You can find us on our website. I don't know who us is. Podcast Nobody Asked For This.podbean.com. You can listen to all the episodes there, or find the links to all the places that you can listen to the podcast. I realize that if you're listening to this, then you know how to listen to this, but maybe you have to tell a friend. We're also on YouTube, not visually, because no, but auditorily. It can't be a word. Okay, I'm going to go. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.